Since the E20 machine comes with a darning foot, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into how you can do your own free motion quilting. Now this foot is more than just one of the snap-on off feet where you touch the back and release the sole here. We actually need our screwdriver and need to take the screw out and the ankle off our machine. So this is what it's going to look like when you completely take it off. This is also what you do when you put a walking foot on, which are available for these machines. Keep in mind that this little white arm needs to be above the screw that you take the needle in and out of. So when I position it over there, that's going to be above it. So I'm coming around. I think I need to take the screw out just a little further. And we can just bring it around the post. Pretty obvious once you actually do that. It is spring loaded, so you do need to kind of give it a little spring and hold that into place. And go ahead, I'm going to just finger tighten this screw up until I can't go any further. And then I'm going to tighten it with the screwdriver. Do make sure you get this all the way tight. There's going to be a lot of vibration as you sew. So no matter which foot you put on there, always make sure that you use the screwdriver to tighten it all the way down. And sometimes I have been known to watch it wiggle a little loose after using it and need that screwdriver to get it back in place. So there we go. Next, with this technique, we lower the feed dogs down. So slide off the accessory box, look right down here where you have the lever and lower it down. Remember, when you bring it back up, these teeth need one stitch taken, whether you sew or turn the hand wheel, for them to visually come back up into position. So we've got a piece of fabric sandwiched with some batting and another piece of fabric in the back here. Once those feed dogs go down, it does not matter what your stitch length up here is actually set at. I do like the needle in the center needle position. That's going to just be best because it's easy to see down here, and then have it on a straight stitch. Now, when you free motion quilt, usually what you do first is lower down the pressure foot and take one stitch by hand. That's going to bring your bobbin thread up. So one full stitch, lift up the foot or slide the fabric to the side, and see this little loop right here? That's the bobbin thread. Just pull that up top. And then reposition your needle over where that stitch was taken. This way, by having this on top and you can hold it, when you start to stitch wherever you're going, you don't kind of stitch that tail into your stitching and have to dig it out later. So I'm going to just make sure I'm kind of near where I am. I'm going to start off without moving it too fast, taking a few stitches in that place so it locks, and then I'll be able to trim those away very quickly and get them out so I don't have to worry about where they are. Now, when you do free motion quilting, the idea is that you sew at the speed that your hands are going to move. You are in control of making the stitch length even. And that is going to take a little practice, okay? So don't kind of judge yourself on how you do it for the first 1 minute of use here. So as I go a little faster, and by the way, I do recommend kind of a medium speed. And then you can start to work around. If you stop, it's a good idea to stop and hand turn that needle into your fabric. And then when you move it, it will stay in place. This is what I was talking about. You can get a little bit away from where you started. Being you took some extra stitches there, trimming that off, it's going to hold it just perfectly, and there's nothing to worry about on the back side. Speaking of the back side, do peek underneath. If you see any of the little dots, which I do see a little bit back here, I'm going to tighten up my top tension just a little bit, and then I'll check it in after a little bit more practice and see if I'm looking to see that the stitch is it looks on the top as it does on the back. And then you know you have a really nice setup for this here. Now, so what the key is that if you go too fast and don't move your fabric, you get really long stitches and kind of pointy stitches. If you sew faster and you don't move your hands, oh, you get little tiny stitches, and those aren't fun to work with, nor do they look very good. So you're kind of working to get that nice rhythm with your machine, kind of like, remember driver's ed, where they taught you back in the day when we didn't have cruise control, and you get on the highway, you step on the foot control, and you kind of lock your ankle. That's kind of what you're going to be doing when you're working with this foot control. Find a speed and kind of hold it there. And then work at getting your hands to move in that same speed that gives you a nice stitch length as you're going. When you're ready to end, just a few extra stitches right in that same similar place. Sometimes I go just a little to the left or right, just so the hole isn't, or the stitches aren't going all in the same hole. And then you'll be able to bring that up, pull it out, and clip your threads right there. And now you know a little bit about free motion quilting using the darning foot that comes with this machine.